think of the word school and think of how we can say soil and identify with it. Your light body spirit hits the soil, S-O-I-L. We consider the light body spirit as our soul. No, that's the spirit. The soul is the body that comes from the earth being penetrated by the light. So it would basically be your shadow essence in that kind of way, your soul, deep down in your soul. I'm going to steal your soul. They don't usually say I'm going to steal your spirit. They can sometimes, but they usually say I'm going to steal your soul. And when they steal your soul, do you know how they do that? When you're born, they take your foot, they do this little thing on it, and then they put it on a piece of paper, and they go, what's that the print of? We're going to keep that. What if somebody keeps something and you don't know why they keep it? And then you find it years and years later, like, why do you have this print of my baby foot? Oh, I stole the picture. I snagged the picture of the sole of your foot. So you what? You stole my soul? Do you see why they do this at birth? And then they got us to praise it and go, oh, I'm going to get my baby's baby footprint. I'm going to put it on a picture and frame it and say, this first step. At the same time, it's beautiful. They have a copy of your footprint. They have a copy of your handprint. They have a copy of each fingerprint now. They have a copy. They actually snip your little tip of your dinky and your circumcision. And it's a fucking delicacy. I know. I started the company. Now, I'm sorry. It's not Dan. That's like, this is the kind of sick shit that I have to confess. Isn't that fucking crazy? I know. And I don't want people to dislike me. But I'm here to save the world. And the only way the world can be saved is to know that these things have to be removed from the minds of humanity. They're removed from my mind because I'm speaking them. I'm speaking them and letting them go so we can let them go. We have to speak the word truth. God is the truth. And the truth in first term isn't that big lowercase a, so it's a elongated thing like that. Just like I said, P moves up and it cuts off, and you turn it upside down because she was named Paris, and you would cut that off because the line to her family tree was removed at the P, so you would cut that off and turn that now, which was cut off with no stem, up like that and center it. She became an Alexander. And she's K-A. K, that sound kinetic, matching with her original kinetic. She wasn't KP. She came back to KA. So she had KTA. He had ECA. So he had this EC. He had the 5-3-1. My dad went backwards 5-3-1. My mom goes 11-20-1. So she's kinetic. She's additive, like God, Theos, but at that point it'd be Thelma. And then you'd pop back to here and you'd go to 1, and she's of the all. My dad, he's the energy, then the concept. So he has an energy to back up whatever concept he's going to do. That's why his name, and Ed on top of that makes him like the work. When the work gets done, it's Ed. And then so he was ECA. He did it completely backwards because that's 5-3-1. Doesn't mean literally my dad did it completely backwards, but he had the odds stacked what? Against him because he was doing it backwards. My mom went from front to almost the middle and back. I go D-J-A. That doesn't sound like much, but A is all. D is the first symbol of all. J is a 10, which is a 1 and a 0 moving into tenths. So my first D is the first dimension of A, going from one side of the left to the first side of the right. My middle initial is a J, which is a 1 and a 0, the matrix. And then my last one is A, what the true one being is, without having to be represented or spun or turned or anything, because I know I was there. And DJA, Ja, Ja, Za, Ja, Ga. They're all the names of God. Jarul, Jahid, Yezu, which is another sound of J. Ya, ya, ja, ya. Go, ya. Come here. Yeah, I like that. It's the craziest, weirdest thing to know is true. Because now I know how to talk to dolphins, but people would, if I was with other people, I wouldn't do it. If I was by myself, I'd plug my nose, and I'd put my mouth on the water, and I'd be like, And I just have a mental intention. And they would understand it. That's how it works. Because I've been Aquaman. Really. In a dimension where the things we do here happen. Out there. Because they are stored in our water, in our memory. And you know how mad they are out there of us? Because we've been making memories of horror and gore. And we say, I don't care. Guess what? You get to inhabit one of those spirits that you created. I know. I've saved all mine. Even though everyone here is one of mine out of time. In time, everyone has a chance to save their light body. Your light body can be saved, and it is this time. You know it. You know that somehow over time you're going to be able to get rid of the things that you really need to get rid of. You're going to be able to determine your mind and practice the practices you need to practice. Nobody needs to do anything. But if you now express ED, what needs to be done, what you really now should energetically energize and do, a need is something that is necessary, expressed everywhere, done or doing by people. These words, what does the word need mean? Nature, expressed upon itself, do it, or do. That's what need means. If nobody understands it, that is definitely is that the best definition of the word need? Something that you must have, something that you gotta have. No, now, expression upon itself, do. I must, I need it, because if I don't have it now, this expression upon itself is gonna die. Because you've got to do it. That's what need means. But nobody lives according to what they need to do. And if I said exactly that to somebody, that's not the definition of need. That's your opinion. I'm like, so if I tell you exactly what every definition we've ever wrote down in the book is, deeper than it means, because I wrote those words, and I was the minds of the people describing those words, and the minds of the people before them telling them those words, and the minds of people teaching the cults, the minds of the people teaching the satanic ritual classes. Like, I remember it, and I'm sorry. I don't just remember it, I did it. But Dan didn't. That's the weirdest thing, is like when I get carried away, I remember. So it's like when people get me in a point where I feel like you, I'm just telling you, but I get so emotional about it because it's real. It's so fucking real. Like, I want your mom to know this. I want Brittany to know this, that I'm the enlightened Messiah. I don't want to say God because people get intimidated by it. I don't want to say Christ because people get intimidated by it. Because they're Christ too, and they're God too, and they're Jesus too, and they're all these things too. Those are words. We are the light bodies. We are the human beings that govern the light. And if we don't straighten our act up, we're going to die. What I say goes. Goes. Not ego. Because an ego is this. Here's this. Here's an E on this side. I showed you this one before, didn't I? Picture that as a lowercase g and then an O. And the ego has to, if you'd have to go 26 letters to go from top to bottom. So if you go this way and go around, you'd go, it would be 27 letters, because from A to Z is 26. So if you wanted to go from E to F, that would be 26. And 27 would be a question. To go all the way around the alphabet back, it'd be a question, what now kind of thing. So you go ego, you have the E here. If you go all the way around, you'd have to get to E and pass it again. So you're stopped at F, you'd go from E to F. Does that make sense? That's the whole alphabet. So you're stopping yourself with your ego. Because you have to go, if you wanted to get to D, if you want to get to the definition from ego, you've got to go all the way around to get to D. Make sense? But if you take this E and you go all the way around and you get past your ego, you get to D. And that would be G-O-D. Would it not? If you went all the way around and you got past the E, going backwards, because you went backwards, and unfortunately you went the wrong way. And you're going to go around your ego backwards so you can get back to the D, the definition of it, the divine nature of yourself. And then when you go do that, God is thy. So then, once you understand this, anything that you generate, ongoing, and if you do it in the right way, E shows up because it's defined, but now it's expressed. You go, subject. So when your ego goes, S and G, when your ego, G-O-E-S, goes, you become God. G. My head's a G. I don't even say it like that, but G, the G sound. This is the kind of stuff that I do know is true. If it wasn't true, I'm the most creative and magical mother in the whole damn world. And it's true already, because the mother that I did, I made a magical dude. I really did. Like, the thing is, like, we've just been deluded. You've been raised by your mom, and not in a bad way on purpose. And she was raised by her dad and her mom and a combination of people, not in a bad way on purpose. My mom and dad didn't have any better lives than them, so as much as I'm insulting what your mom would think I'm insulting her, I've done the same thing to myself. I've done the same thing to my dad. I've done the same thing to everyone and everything I've ever known, because I love them. And I'm pointing out their flaws so we can really fix them. And people that say, I don't care, I don't fucking care, people have the right. No, they don't, because you'll understand that once you understand this is true, you're going to do it over and over and over and over and over. And Dan knows, because Dan, you know what I mean already, and I'm not going to say it because I think I'm still recording. I don't even know. I'm still recording. So I know this stuff. And it's like, if people don't want to know the truth, that's fine. But don't kill me. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, because I can sit in a corner and I can meditate and save you from afar while you're killing each other. So if you guys want to play your games, play your games. Don't harm me. I won't harm you. If people want to come and learn my lessons like I say them, you're not going to be harmed anyway when we finally figure out a way to do it. And the way we're going to figure out a way to do it is to soften your hearts and wisen you up and enlighten you all so we can save the galaxy. Because after we save ourselves, being the central vibrator that gives off these resonations, the reason the aliens and the whatevers haven't came yet to get even with us is because they still come from the essential essence of our love, our family tree, our true future, the original God, the original seed, the original ancestor, the predecessor, the predecessor, Exodus. So it's like, that's where you turn the C times 6 backwards and say Exodus. So now you exit us. We exited dust. We became Dan. Dew. Not a dune, sand. Dan. The beginning was Dan. Dan was deemed, because now it's manifest as many. It's not Dean. You could say D-E-E-N, but we don't have a word like that. But that's what it'd be. Dan would be Dean. And as Dan was Dean, as in deemed necessary, Dan was Dean, and ended up in the den. And what was the den? Where everyone was lying on. Doesn't mean it was necessarily wrong. It just means the lion's den, where things land on the ground. The dandelion is the tooth of the lion, the tooth of the ground. Why is it the ground? Well, I just explained it. And I can do it in alphabetical fashion. I can do whatever fashion. But what matters, let me stay out of jail. If you need money, if I build it, they will come with money. But I don't want money. Pay Brittany. If Brittany will never wake up, and if your mom will never wake up, believe me, they can get rich off of me. That would be more wise than putting me in jail. But I don't want them to use me for that. If anyone can't understand my creativity level is above everyone's, subpar to no one, I'm sorry. Bill Gates is a schmuck compared to me. All he's done is learn how to trick people, because he got bought off and he was scared to die. He did something to help. So did Mark Zuckerberg. They did great things to help. But then foul people said, hey, you got to listen to us. We're going to fucking kill you, dude. And everybody you know. At one point, they'd be like, I don't care if I die. But I don't want to hurt anyone else I know. Well, guess what? If you don't cooperate, all of them, everyone you've ever known, we'll look up your yearbook and kill them. I know. I've had it happen to me. Dan? No. But have I had threats? Yes. Is that okay? No. Can I tell the court? I don't allow myself to invade free will minds, because God allows you to have free will. God does allow you to have free will. God doesn't invade free will. Beings besides the human realm operate by the law of non-interference. Even entities can't come into your life if you don't ask them. If angels and aliens can't come into your life unless you ask them. And you can't ask from a place where you don't believe. That's 27. You got to get beyond the word 27 and ask the right damn questions. That's why 27 is the hidden letter, because you never know. It's not who am I going to be next, it's what question am I going to ask next, and what answer am I going to look for? What dancer? What is the in 5 senses, in 1 sense, duh, answer. I'm dancer, and we are the dance, concept express, Dan, unseen concept, energy. It's the dance of light, the dance of life. It's me. I'm circle, I'm cool, you know? When the light hit the earth, it cooled. I'm the circle of life. Did anyone else say that? No. But I don't care, because that's the Lion King. Daniel in the lion's den. Leo the lion. I didn't do that on purpose. Brittany had something to do with it, or else she could have interfered. She liked it. I'm sorry. It was fucking destined by God. If Brittany doesn't understand that her son is the son of God, and he can learn how to heal, be loving, magical, peaceful, a healing essence to the world. And if your mom doesn't understand that with the right tutoring, you can. Oliver can, Matt can, Brianna can, all their families can, Ariana can, Janetta can, my mom and dad can, but they're too afraid to let go of the food they eat. That's the ridiculous part about it. Retarded, I would have said, but only in the way to slow you down and break you and halt you from going anywhere. When you're tardy, it just means you're expected to be late. If you were just a tard, it just means you're late. Or you're like, you're a little slow there, you're late. That's all it means, a little slow. And the reason you're slow is because you've been slowed down. So nothing against Malcolm, nothing against Lisa, nothing against Jeanette, nothing against your mom, nothing against Brittany, nothing against their families, nothing against any of them. I love them. I really, really, really do. And I'm not saying it because I care, like, that they believe it. It's because I do. You know? Hate me. I love you. I'm the truth. I created you, and you would destroy me. And this is Dan. This is where I was there. And I came down to my light family to save them from the mistake I made. Because I didn't know what it meant when I spun it. And it landed on DNA. And they made up DNA. And Chuck is supposed to make up for Charles Darwin's problems. Brian is supposed to make up for all the wars. My dad is supposed to make up for all the wars. Mike is supposed to make up for the medical and the physical flaws, the lies. And he's also supposed to help and heal. And he is. He's just also toxifying himself. And I am here to save the world. Always have been. Always will be. And when the next time I'm born, the whole cycle will change and it'll fit my next name. It always will. It always has. And it's freaky. Because this is the real world. And I just showed you that. Right? 100-acre woods. I live in the big woods, the hands of God, whatever. And other people can, like, what's weird is when you speak the word, it's true. Other people could sit there and be like, positive quotations. Maybe I could look through here and find some cool stuff and relate it to myself and write it out. That's not what I've done. I've meditated. I've done that practice that I just said, along with practices that I made up that I'm trying to teach people, but they won't take me seriously. I'm like, do the practice. Have you done the exercises? More than once? Every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Eventually you'll be like, I don't do anything else. I feel great. But then you will, because you want to teach other people so they feel great. And we live in a world full of amazing people who deserve to feel better. And because I know what I'm talking about. And I didn't just read it out of a book and then like, hey, nobody knows about this stuff. I could take this method and sell it and make a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Like Joe Dispenza didn't do that to rip people off. He did it because he wanted to help. But hey, we live in a world where money is a necessary evil. No, it's not. I know. I trust me, I invented money. I can go through everything about the occults that I've never been in any of the occults as Dan. I've never been into any Kabbalah. I've never been into Wicca. I've never been into witchcraft. But all I did is I've looked at the very first page of Wiccan, and I was like, I remember writing this book. What's the point of looking at it? You got to study books and read to understand. I'm like, why? So I would lose the truth? If I studied books and read that, do you know what it would do? It would make me lose the truth that I am. So if people said, no man, study the history books, man. Study the history books. You got to study NASA about space, man. I'm like, no, actually, NASA's not even there. It's N plus A equals O, 0. Ongoing, 1, 5, 6 in the human mind. And then it has SA, which is 19 plus A, which is 1, which is T, which means 0 plus. Does anything else come after that? No. Why are they all called Apollo? Because they appall everybody. All they are for is applause. And all they are is applause to mess people up, to get you distracted with space and tell you cool stories so that you'll keep working and paying money to buy gear that has stars and cool stuff on it. George Lucas didn't know that. You're here to make up for that. That's yours. I didn't mean to tell you your thing, but I didn't tell you how. But you're supposed to make up for those. Like, you could be my editor, you could be whatever. And I've been trying to tell you about it subscreetly. I'm not gonna tell you your future. I can't. But I know it. I really do. I know your future. And I'm not gonna tell it to you. But that's the thing, is that, but how can you help me? How can I help you? That's the sort of thing, like, what do you want to do, man? What do you want to do? I can't tell you what your future's gonna be. But I already know. You know, this is a weird thing. Like, with mom and dad, I keep wanting to tell them to stop eating these foods and quit. And they say, we're trying and we're trying. I'm like, I know you're trying. And I can see your timeline's changing because you actually are cleaning it up. But the thing is, if you don't try hard enough, and if you don't try the meditation, I don't care how old you are. I mean, I care about you, so I care about your details, but age is a fake idea. I don't care about how old you are. If you don't do these exercises, and if you don't believe in me, and you don't love your life, if you dance around and enjoy yourself and feel young, why do they call it feeling young? What do you think your body does at that point? It stays young. And you don't eat animals that are full of fear. You don't eat plants from the ground that has been covered and soaked with blood for decades. You let that take its time. You fast. You let the water cleanse. You keep asking Mother Nature for forgiveness. You keep asking Father God for forgiveness, and you keep asking the Holy Spirit for forgiveness. The unseen, the light, and the earth body. Those are Father, Mother, and Son. That's all they are. Not all they are, because then the Holy Spirit is all of us, and the energy that runs our tickers. So it's like, when you're running out of time and you get bit by a tick. You get bit by a tick when you're running out of time, and you end up with the third dimensional L, Lyme, with a Y-M-E. You're gonna yoke yonder me with the Lyme disease when you pop out of time with the 1, 2, 3. Oh, out of time with the 1, 2, 3. I don't wanna get no Lyme disease. Got bit by a tick, tick, tick. Now my ticker ain't ticking and I might die quick. I got bit by a tick, tick, tick. Now my ticker ain't ticking and my time might quit. I got bit by a tick, tick, tick. Now my ticker ain't ticking and my time might quit. I got bit by a tick, tick, ticker, and my ticker won't tick, so my time might quit. Yo, Lyme disease is not really fun, my friends. It might have me down on my knees. What was recording? And don't get me started on the magic school bust.